when the narcissist calls you the narcissist. Think about that for a minute. Everyone, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. So, you know what narcissism is. You're learning. You know what the narcissist has done. You experienced it. You're now understanding that a lot of people on the planet are using that word, and a lot of people are using the word a little loosely. Other people are trying to get away from the toxic word narcissism or narcissist. They're trying to change it or maybe soften it a little bit. I understand the whole thing. What I would say, as the thumbnail mentions, when the narcissist calls you the narcissist, what that means is this. It means, number one, yes, the narcissist knows who they are. Now, you may think, well, not really, they're calling me the narcissist. Well, let's pause there for a moment. If the narcissist is using that word and they're calling you the narcissist, first of all, there's your projection. Second of all, that means they have heard the word before. And you perhaps have used it with them, maybe called them the narcissist, or maybe you didn't, or maybe they tried to really pull one over on you and call you one, and you researched it and figured out, wait a minute, that's not me, that's you. Any way you look at it, what this tells me, and it should tell you the exact same thing, is that the narcissist is doing research like you are. The narcissist is having to find different avenues to crawl underneath or to slide into people's lives and relationships because they can't do what they used to do years ago. Years ago was before the internet or the smartphone. The narcissist ran the earth. They could do whatever they wanted to do, and nobody knew anything, and nobody was the wiser, which meant this. Think of what the narcissist loves. They love control. They love money. They love manipulation. And they love being able to drop people on a dime once they find something better, or discard people. The narcissist also loves punishment, to dish out punishment. Of course, not to receive it, because the narcissist is shallow, they're hollow, they're stunted, they're anxiety riddled, and they're abusers, they're manipulators, and they're bullies and cowards, if I didn't say that already. But back then, when you didn't know what was going on, you were trapped in the narcissistic fog. Perhaps even in the trauma bond, you were certainly being devalued, and maybe you experienced all three of those. They all equal toxicity. And when the narcissist would call you the narcissist, let's say they did, that tells me that they were watching videos. They were researching things. Now, could they comprehend the videos and research the things? Probably not, because many times these people aren't the sharpest knives in the drawer. But they can use a 3-syllable word, narcissist. Get it? They can mimic. This is what these people do. They mimic. They regurgitate. They spit back other people's ideas, notions, mindsets, thoughts, purposes, and more. And so now when the narcissist called, I'll use the past tense going forward, when they called you the narcissist, that tells me that they know what they're doing, because they know what toxicity is. They were just trying to blame it on you and dump it on you. Now again, if you didn't know what narcissism was back then, you may, and I doubt it, but you may have thought that you were the narcissist. And if you did, and you made it this far in the video, most likely you're not the narcissist. And you need to continue to watch the video so I can explain to you why you're not the narcissist. If you're watching the video right now and you are the narcissist, please leave. You're not welcome here. Don't want anything to do with you. You need to try to figure out something on your own for once, and watching and consuming my content and sponging off of all my wisdom and my experiences is not going to help you, because you see, we, the collective, are becoming more and more awakened and aware, educated and empowered, and we are on to you, narcissists, plural. And we all know now, or we're learning, many of us, that when the narcissist would call us the narcissist in the past, or even in the present, we now know that that has nothing to do with us. What it means is the narcissist is getting frustrated. What it means is they can't get to that much any longer, or maybe they can't get to at all. So they're trying to throw everything in the kitchen sink at you by calling you the narcissist. But what these tiny little anxiety-riddled pea-brained entities, i.e. the narcissists, don't understand is when they called you that, many people actually went and researched what the word was before they even knew what it was. Which meant, and this is coming from almost 5 years of paying it forward and having one-on-one sessions with people and understanding so much more about narcissism, about empathy, about mindset, about humanity, but more importantly about what these people, i.e. the toxic people, do. So if they called you out and called you the narcissist, or not called you out, but they called you that, maybe you're one of the people that researched it and you looked it up and you're like, what is this? I don't even know what this is. This doesn't make sense to me. I don't do this. I've never done this. What are you talking about? I wouldn't do that. Like what? Well, right then and there, when you were reading the definitions and the terms and learned about narcissism and specifically what a narcissist is. And then you went down and figured out what a gaslighting was, triangulation, and all the other words in the glossary. When you did that, then you realized, wait, I don't do that. I've never done that. I didn't do that. I don't even know what that was. That happened to me. So did that, and that, and that, and that, and that, and that. And what you do is you get your pen and paper out and you go check, 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 check. And all of these things will start flooding through your mind. You'll begin to get light bulb moments. You'll begin to see the way things really are because this possibly happened with you. Now, it didn't happen with me. I wasn't called a narcissist. I was told I was boring and that I'm not going to say other things, but I was called boring multiple times, or a nice guy. That's what I was called. But eventually I figured it out on my own, and during the pandemic, Left for Dead, etc. But if you were called the narcissist and you didn't know what it was, I can assure you, you researched that term. And why I'm saying all these things is if the narcissist uses that word, it's because it's a very trending word right now on this planet called Earth. Truth of the matter is it's been trending for about 5 years. And it will continue to trend until something more toxic pops or rears its ugly head in the planet. And my hope is we can eradicate all the toxic behaviors on the planet, but it's not going to happen today or probably not tomorrow. So in the meantime, when the narcissist would call you that and you researched it, then you figured out, wait a minute, this has nothing to do with me. This person's doing all these things. Now, when you did that, you probably were doubting yourself, and you were wondering what because you're probably caught up in the trauma bond or the devaluation stage, and you were probably still making excuses for the narcissist. Maybe what you did was you called them out and said, that's not me, but you didn't say that is you. Maybe you just researched it and didn't say a word to them. Maybe you didn't research it. Maybe you did many other things, but I can tell you one thing that you did. You understood that person that you're considering the narcissist, they now knew certain things that you never thought they would know, which is what narcissism is. One of the main questions that people have all over the planet, and these questions are being asked right now, and I will provide an answer for you right now. One of the main questions people have is, does the narcissist know they're the narcissist? Yes, they do. I will say it again. Yes, they do. If we didn't have smartphones or internet, or if we weren't connected the way we're connected in this year, then perhaps maybe they wouldn't know. But we're now almost 3 months into the year of 2026, and there is information at the drop of a hat, at your fingertip. AI is here. People are learning at such an accelerated rate. You are, I am, I'm learning, I'm teaching, I'm growing, I'm paying it forward. That's probably what you're doing. If you're not yet, you will. But the thing is, people are learning what behaviors are and what mindsets are and what disorders are. Yeah, they are. So the narcissist knows who they are. Now, is the narcissist ever going to admit to you or anyone else that that's who they are? Of course not. Why, you may ask? The reason why is because, again, it would create a massive narcissistic injury in their tiny little brain, and they may never recover from that. So another point for you here is, does the narcissist have little flashes throughout the day, week, month, year, decade, or life that they actually are destroying people's lives? Yes, they do have those. Do they also have little tiny microseconds, if you will, of stability and clarity, and they're actually a decent human being? Yes, they do. Are some of those strategically planned out? Yes, they are. Does some of them pop up just out of the blue? Yes, they do. Everything I'm sharing with you, it just goes back to what I've been teaching for years. The narcissists can't regulate themselves. If they could, they wouldn't be a narcissist, and they wouldn't have looked for a target, and they wouldn't be a predator, and they wouldn't be wearing a mask, and they wouldn't be lying or stealing or cheating or blowing up relationships or hiding assets, etc. But this is what they do. And truth of the matter is, they're quite good at it. Until when? That's right, until they're not. And when they're not, that's when they get exposed, or that's when their looks fail, or that's when their looks fade, or that's when they go to zero on money, or that's when everyone that surrounded themselves, or that the narcissists surrounded themselves with, won't lift a finger to help them out any longer because they've seen too much. Eventually, it all catches up with the narcissist. Every single behavior will catch up with them, which is why I suggest, and I've done it for years on the channel, that you should not take the bait. You should not be a participant in the smear campaign. You should take the high road, focus on yourself, control what you can control, maintain your energy, maintain your boundaries, and realize that you are the priority. You come first, second, and third, and there's no room in your life now or in the future for toxicity. And that if the narcissist did call you that, even if they call you that now, and I'm not referring to directly, because by now you should have gone no contact, blocked them, deleted them, etc. But let's say that someone else called someone else, you heard that someone called you the narcissist. Well, think about it. Why would somebody call another person the narcissist? There's only two reasons. I'm going to say this again. Why would one person call another person the narcissist? And there are only two reasons. Here's the first one. Because they are a narcissist. That's why you're here, and that's why I create videos every day to educate you, so you can identify what toxicity is, what narcissism is, what being devalued is, what being disrespected is, and what healthy and loving, stable relationships are made of, and what they're not made of. So that's reason number one. The main reason, or the number one reason why someone would call another person a narcissist is because that person is the narcissist, meaning the person they called. Example, the person you're considering. I'm sure they're the narcissist because you're doing the homework, the deep dive. You've watched thousands of hours of videos, and I'm certain you came to a conclusion. Now flip it. The only other reason somebody will call someone the narcissist is when they themselves are the narcissist and they're trying to project. Now that's not you. It certainly isn't me. We were the people who were manipulated, abused, tricked, trapped, and taken advantage of for a period of time, which was the length of that relationship. We didn't know where we were. We didn't know that narcissism existed. The narcissist did. The narcissist had an insurmountable advantage over us until we figured out who they are or who they were. That is why there are only two kinds of people that would use the word narcissist. Again, if you don't agree, drop comments. If you do agree, drop comments. But what I'm telling you is a rock solid law of the universe. One person will, if there are two people and one person calls the other person the narcissist, it's because that person has education, wisdom, and unfortunately probably experience, and they know what they're talking about. Flip it. The other way that someone would call the other person the narcissist is if they themselves are the narcissist and they're trying to blame the other person and get the spotlight off them. Now, you may not agree with that. It's true. And you may not understand it. It's true. If you don't, play the video, play it a few times, and understand that you were in a relationship from hell. You were taken advantage of. And so let's say the narcissist did call you the narcissist. Why do you think they would do that? Let's say that the two of you, as you were breaking up or when you broke up, let's say that in a rage fit that they were throwing on you, they called you the narcissist. Why do you think they would do that? Of course, the reason why they would do that is to push your buttons, to have you run on high, to have you overheat, to get all emotional, to defend, to explain, to call them out, to take the bait, essentially. That's why they would do that. So now that you know what you know, and my hope is you're learning more and more each and every day, as am I. Now, if somebody were to call you the narcissist, of course, not the person you're considering, I'm talking the person in the future, with your superpower, you'll be able to identify in a second. Don't think so. I've never been the narcissist. I can't do what they do, and I know what narcissism is, so nice try, but you just identified yourself, and thank you for showing me who you are. I will have nothing to do with you. This is how it works. I will share this with you right now, and I shared it in a one-on-one session earlier today. I'm going to share it with you. You were on a chessboard in a game of chess for your life. When I say for your life, I mean for your life. You were in a game, trapped in a maze, not knowing how to get out of the maze, not knowing which pieces to move because you were a pawn being moved any which way till Sunday. And you didn't know there were another, 35 pieces of pieces on the chessboard. You didn't realize other people were being moved around like you were. Now, did they experience what you did? I can't tell you. But I can tell you that this is the test of your lifetime. And when you were in the relationship, maybe even being called the narcissist, you were figuratively, not literally, figuratively on a chessboard. And you were being toyed with, manipulated, moved, tricked, trapped, blamed, financially abused, disrespected, disregarded, treated completely less than a stranger, walked 50 feet in front of, and expected to pay the bills, to cook, to clean, to provide intimacy if it was a romantic relationship, to raise kids, and to go to work, and to come home and say, thank you, may I have another. That is no way to be living life. That's why once you get the wisdom, you need to apply the wisdom. Once you get the tools, you need to apply the tools. And you need to realize that your life does not belong in the proximity, vicinity, or area of a narcissist. And if the narcissist did call you out, if they did call you the narcissist, once you heal and you realize that if they ever did call you that, back then you would have most likely taken the bait and said, oh my gosh, like, what is that me? Well, now you know, because you're calm, you're centered, you're stoic, you're focused, but now you have the wisdom and the experience from the toxic relationship. You know who you are. Most likely you're a person with a high level of empathy. Most likely you didn't even know what narcissism was till you found my channel. Most likely you're now seeing narcissism everywhere, not just from the person you're considering, but from people at the grocery store or in traffic or on TV shows or movies if you're watching those things. Narcissism is everywhere. And one of the main things that people never were supposed to figure out was that A, it is everywhere. B, these people know what they're doing. I'm talking about the narcissists. And C, they kept the whole planet until the internet and the smartphones. They kept the whole planet on edge, confused, in a daze, in a fog, if you will, in one big, massive narcissistic fog. The whole planet was like that. And you may say, wow, that's a big, broad paintbrush you're painting with. Where does that come from? Think about it. Years ago, before the internet and the smartphone, we couldn't connect with people in different countries. We spoke our native tongue. We barely even learned other languages. To get on an airplane was a big thing. To pick up the phone, an old-fashioned rotisserie or dial-up phone was a big thing. If you remember, if you're old enough or young enough to remember, you used to have to wait to use the phone that was on the wall in the kitchen. Maybe your siblings were like, no, I'm going to call. I've got a big date this weekend. I need that phone call. They're going to call me between 7 and 7:15. I need it. And they would sit there by the phone waiting. And guess what would happen? The phone would ring. It would be your crazy uncle, and you'd say, I can't talk now, uncle. Click, bye. Or it would be a phone call for your one of your siblings, and you'd say, no, talk to them at school tomorrow. I'm waiting. But see, those days are, truth be told, they were the good old days. These days are good new days, but back then things were slower. We weren't connected as much. We didn't know what we know now. Fast forward to today, we're all connected. Every single one of us is connected. I'll give you an example right now. If you've never been to the Carolinas, well, you're here with me right now. That's where I am. See, we're connected. So that's why the narcissist, if they called you the narcissist, back then you probably didn't know what was going on. Now you do. And now you can shrug your shoulders and say, really? Are you kidding me? Do you even know 1% of what I know? You don't say that, but in your mind you do, and you're like, yep, there's another one. Don't need to communicate with that person. And that's the way it works. So again, remember, there are 3 versions of you. The first version of you is who you were before you met the narcissist. Totally different person. That person's long gone. Second version is who you became when you were trapped in the narcissistic relationship. That person, my hope, is gone. And the third version of you is the version that my hope is either you are arriving at or you have arrived at the mountaintop, the pinnacle of indifference. And that's the healed version, the strongest, most galvanized version of you known to humankind. And when you get there, it's rarefied air. And on top of that, that's where I'm standing, waiting for you to get there, lifting my arms down with all the thousands, if not hundreds of thousands or millions of people who have arrived there. And we all know now what narcissism is. So if someone calls us the narcissist, we can kind of chuckle and say, really? You too? And that's the beauty of the superpower you've acquired. Now, going through the narcissistic relationship, was that a pleasant experience? Anything but. Healing, was that a pleasant experience? Anything but. If you experience the dark night of the soul, the discard, the trauma bond, and more and more and more, no, none of that's what you want to be going through. But once you get out and you make it and you heal, you'll see what I see. You'll see that what I'm saying to you is true. It's accurate and it's real. And it is one of the laws of the universe. That's why you need to understand that you are stronger than you know. So everyone, that's the video. I hope you liked it. I loved doing it from the beautiful Carolinas. This is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great afternoon, evening, or morning. No matter where you are on the planet, you are not alone. I love you all, and I will talk to you tomorrow. And this video is a little different. The reason I created it is because I haven't created it before, but also because in some recent sessions I've had, one-on-one sessions, that topic has come up, and I've had some emails sent to me. And by the way, drop emails or your questions, comments, concerns, video topics, and more at narcdailyvideos@gmail.com. That's narcdailyvideos@gmail.com. Check out the description part of the channel and you'll find out that email as well. But I created this video because when the narcissist calls somebody the narcissist, Knowing what I know now, and my hope is you're getting what I'm putting out, or you're getting the wisdom that I'm sharing with you, or maybe you've had it before the channel. Anyway, you look at it, when someone calls someone that, it's because they know what the word, or they've heard the word, they know it does damage, they know that other people don't want to be called that word, so what do? They use that word when they in fact are the narcissist. They use that word to dump it on somebody else, to deflect the attention or the negative attention away from them. The narcissist bag of tricks, it's getting really low. It's really running on empty. They used to have a big bag of tricks, like a clown in a circus, full of all the circus tricks and manipulating techniques and two-way mirrors or three-way mirrors and all of the gadgets and everything. That magic bag, or bag of tricks, or bag of abuse, if you will, toxic bag of abuse that the narcissist has, it's running on empty. It really is. You may think otherwise. That wouldn't be true. These people are becoming more and more exposed. They're becoming more and more anxiety riddled. They're becoming more and more nervous because they don't have many places to hide. They're running out of places to hide, and they know it. I love you all, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye, everybody. Bye.